For many, many years, especially during the BCS run, we always got to hear that the SEC's worst team will absolutely dominate the other conferences in college football. So here today, we're finally going to put that to the test. College football has changed. The SEC hasn't won a chip in a while. And according to College Football 26, the Kentucky Wildcats are on the clock. We will be simulating one season with the Kentucky Wildcats just to see how many conferences they can win. And for every conference championship, they get 1 point. And for every time they fall flat on their face, they get a big fat goose egg. Now, I call BS here on this theory. So if the Wildcats finish above 500, I will be giving away a $20 gift card to one lucky subscriber. Starting off here in the American Conference, the team overall wise they have to worry about the most is going to be the Tulane Green Wave. Other than that, they're head and shoulders the best team in this conference. And to make things as fair as possible, we will be restarting the dynasty at the end of each season. That way we have the base Kentucky roster. We don't have to worry about recruiting. They don't lose their best players. They don't gain any good players. We're going to go strictly based off of the base roster that they have here on the game. Now, heading into conference championship week, Kentucky is number 8 in the nation, 11-1. They will be taking on the number 11 Tulane Green Wave. Kentucky started off the season 5-0 before losing to South Carolina. Then it went on to rattle off another 6 games to finish the season 11-1. Even beating Tulane by 3. All right, boys, and this game is going to be a home one. Kroger Field, Kentucky versus Tulane. They played the Instant Classic the last time these teams faced off. Let's see what we get out here today. All right, things aren't looking too hot right here. They're down going into the fourth quarter, 21-7, and they're going to lose this one 24-7 at home. Not only did they already beat them, they played this game at home, and they still couldn't come out here and get the job done. Tulane gets their lick back, and Kentucky starts this challenge off 0-1. Next up, we're plopping Kentucky in the ACC, and they got some killers out here. Clemson, Miami, yeah, I said Miami. SMU can even bump them off. Syracuse can bump them off. Bill Belichick and USC probably can get the win. And then they got their rivalry game versus the Louisville Cardinals. Let's see how they fare here in the ACC. In the words of RBT, this one was a stinker. 5-7 in the ACC for Kentucky. They beat Toledo, lost to UVA, Florida State, Cal, beat Pitt, lost to South Carolina again, got blown out by Miami, beat Boston College, lost to the Gators, beat FCS, lost to Clemson 56-7, and then they finally beat Virginia Tech 27-24. They didn't even get a shot to play Louisville, but they probably would have lost that game too. Next up on the docket, we're welcoming Kentucky to the Big Ten. Indiana, Miami, Ohio State, Oregon, UCLA, Penn State, USC. It's going to be a long year for them boys. So a year in the Big Ten was better than a year in the ACC. They go 8-4. Still won't be playing for a conference championship. 4-4 in the conference. They beat Auburn, Toledo, Rutgers, lost to Purdue, surprisingly. Beat USC, South Carolina this time around, UCLA. Lost to Ohio State and Michigan in back-to-back weeks. They even lost to Minnesota. They beat Iowa and they beat Louisville. Now it's time for Kentucky to be in the Big 12. Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, Texas Tech. Even TCU and Utah are sleepers. Shout out to Coach Prime, Colorado. Let's see if Kentucky can compete for a conference chip. Another very disappointing season for the Kentucky Wildcats. Surprisingly enough, 5-7 total, but all 5 of their wins came within the conference. They finished behind West Virginia, Colorado, Arizona State, BYU, and Texas Tech. They lost to Toledo this year, beat Iowa State, lost to Kansas, beat Cincy and Kansas State, lost to South Carolina again. They beat Arizona, lost to BYU, lost to Auburn, beat UCF, lost to Baylor and Louisville. Now Kentucky's in the Conference USA. I was very confident that they would win the American. Now I'm even more confident that they can win the Conference USA. All right, boys, so Kentucky finds themselves back in the driver's seat to win a conference chip. They're number 22 in the nation. They will be taking on number 16, Sam Houston State. To get to this point, they beat Toledo, Jacksonville State, New Mexico State, lost to South Carolina, beat FIU, lost to Sam Houston already once this year, beat Middle Tennessee, Delaware, Auburn, UTEP, Liberty, lost to Louisville this year, and now they're poised to play for the conference chip. 9-3, 7-1 in conference. All right, boys, you know the vibes. To the Super Sim we go. Can Kentucky get the job done out here? They're up 7-3, 10-3. They get another stop. They can't score. Sam Houston State gets 3 more. It's a ball game. They get 3, 13-6, 26 with under 2 minutes left. Kentucky's going to get the job done, and they get their very first conference chip here, winning the Conference USA. They got a long way to go if they want to win some of these other conferences, but this is a stride into the right direction. The next conference on the docket is going to be the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. Now, Kentucky actually kind of fits in this conference a little bit, man. They're pretty close to Illinois and Ohio and stuff like that. So this is actually pretty cool. Now, again, they don't have a lot of good teams in here. It's a bunch of 60s, a few 70s, but Toledo has been on their ass a little bit. I don't know. So let's see if they can come out here and get the job done. Now, this just very well might be the down bad moment of the experiment. They are not going to have a chance to play for the MAC chip. They go 6-6, all 6 wins in conference, but they lost 2 of those games. Lost to Florida, beat Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, UMass, lost to South Carolina, beat Bowling Green, but they lost to Buffalo. They lost to Kent freaking State. They lost to Kent freaking State. Shh. Let it marinate. Kent State. They beat Akron, lost to Auburn, they beat CMU, and then they lost to Louisville. But Buffalo and Kent State, those losses are abysmal. They're horrible, actually. Now it's time for Kentucky to head out west to play in the Mountain West. I feel like Boise State and a few of these other teams might get on their ass. I don't know at this point. All right, boys, so we're back in the driver's seat for another conference chip, the Mountain West Conference chip versus Fresno State of all teams. How did they get here? Beat Auburn, lost to Toledo again somehow. Beat Nevada, San Jose State, lost to South Carolina. Shut out Colorado State, beat New Mexico, beat Boise by 2, beat Air Force, Hawaii, UNLV. They finally got another win versus Louisville. Now here they are taking on Fresno State. They went 8-0 in conference this year. And it's a snow game here at Kroger Field here in Kentucky. But last time we played a conference chip game here, it was, not really what we were looking for. Tulane came in here and blew them out the water. Will the snow work in their favor? I don't know. Let's get to it. I don't think Fresno State used to this kind of climate. Coming into this Super Sim, boys, let's see. Fresno State goes up 3-0. Kentucky goes down and they score 6. They go down again, they score 7 more. Now they're up 17-3 in the third. Fresno State isn't really moving the ball, 24-3. And Kentucky is going to find themselves winners of yet another conference chip. They should have 3, no BS. They should have 3. One would think they would easily win the American, and one would think they would at least play for the MAC. They don't, but they get the job done here versus the Mountain West. So 2 for 3 in conference chips, and then and then they're 3 for 4 in conference chips that I expected them to wholeheartedly play for. Now for our 8th and final conference, Kentucky is joining the Sun Belt. This is a sneaky conference, man. I feel like they should be able to win this one, but don't let these ratings or overalls fool you. Some of these teams really be banging with the big boys. All right, boys, as expected, Kentucky will be playing for the Sun Belt chip. So how did Kentucky get here? They actually went undefeated in conference, 11-1 total. They beat South Carolina, Georgia Southern, Marshall, Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Old Dominion, Georgia State, James Madison, Southern Mississippi, South Alabama, Toledo. They got bumped off by Auburn. They haven't really been able to beat them that much. They finally beat Louisville, and then they got the conference chip here versus Southern Miss. All right, boys, Kentucky running out here for the conference chip. We put this one in a neutral site. We in Baltimore with it, M&T Bank Stadium. You know what I mean? The house that Lamar is continuing to build. And we're going to see if Kentucky can end this thing out with a bang. All right, boys. Southern Miss strikes first. Kentucky answers with 3. Southern Miss gets 3 more. Kentucky 10-6 here in the second quarter, 13-6 in the third, 16-6 heading into the fourth, 16-9. I was trying to jump into the game, but 22-9 is the score right now. And this one is all but over. The clock hits triple zeros, and Kentucky wins the Sun Belt. And Mark Stoops gets the job done here in the final season. He lost some games versus some teams that he shouldn't have lost throughout this whole entire thing. But, you know what I'm saying, they were able to come out here and get it done. So, I didn't think Kentucky would be able to win all these other conferences. But, the SEC fans are going to move the goalposts, and they're going to be like, well, we didn't mean, our worst teams. We meant, like, our second-tier teams like Ole Miss and Missouri and blah, blah, blah. But this is a video game. Gotta take everything with a grain of salt. But let me know down in the comment section below what teams you want to see me do this with next.